Steven can't cook. Special edition vlog today. Brisket Phở. Or in Vietnamese we call it Gau. G-A-U. But I was craving some brisket, so let's make some brisket Phở, aka Phở Gau. So, story time. I got to the Asian market, tried to get my beef bones early in the morning, and it was already wiped out from a local restaurant. So there was no beef marrow bones to make pho, so I had to improvise here with some beef neck bones, beef ribs, and the main character, the brisket. We're gonna just soak it here in some water for like 2 hours. This is just another method of cleaning out all the scum and blood to ensure a nice clear broth at the end. High quality H2O into our main pot. 80-90% of pho is water, so why not use the highest quality of H2O. I have my clearly filter there. We're gonna go with about 8 liters here. It's gonna be a different approach since we don't have beef bones for this cookout, this vlog. So after 2 hours soaking our neck bones, our ribs, and our brisket in just some regular water, we're gonna take it out of that bath and we're gonna give it a quick shower, a quick rinse to further clean out any debris, scum, to ensure that our bones are super clean along with our brisket. Rinse everything off and into the main pot it goes. You can see that the meat is a little bit brighter because all that blood has been rinsed out. So bring that up to a boil and let's start prepping our fresh aromatics here. Today I'm going with a daikon. This is going to add some natural sweetness to the broth. Peel it, and I'm going to cut it the long way. I have 1 white onion here. You can go yellow onion, you can go sweet onion, even purple onion if you have it. Peeled, and then we're going to go with a good amount of fresh organic ginger. Use a spoon to take off the skin so you don't take too much off of the main flesh. 4 medium-sized knobs. Alright, once our main pot is up to a boil, you can see there's still scum and blood that we need to sift out, that we need to fish out to ensure a nice, clean broth. So I'm going to do this consistently throughout because there's always going to be a little bit of scum floating to the top and you always want to take it out. So it's just clean and everything's easy to work with. Give everything a check. So once it's up to a boil, guys, we're going to have to manage our meats. So in goes our daikon, and then after 2.5 to 3 hours, we're going to take out the brisket and the beef rib bones. Those are the first things to come out. Alright, our fresh aromatics, put it into the air fryer at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes to get a nice char. Flipping halfway. This is going to release the smell and the fragrance of all the onions and the ginger, and then we're going to add that to our main broth and just let that rock out on a low simmer. So this is about 2.5 hours. I still wanted some texture on the beef ribs, so 2.5 hours is perfect to take out the beef ribs, and depending on the size of your brisket, 2.5 hours was perfect for this kind of medium size, about 1.5 pounds brisket here. Beautiful cut. Let that cool down and let's start prepping our other stuff in between. We have our fresh pho noodles. This is not the fresh ones. This is one you can find in the refrigerated section. Super easy to handle. I like to take it out, break it up, keep it in a container with the lid. This is our sweet yellow onion that I'm going to thinly slice up. Good thing about pho is there's a lot of time to prep in between while the broth is simmering away. So that's our beef ribs. I'm going to wrap it with some parchment paper so it can maintain its color so it doesn't dry out and turn black. Another method is you can rinse it in cold water, but I found this to be easier. So just wrap it in some parchment paper for use later. So those are beef ribs, and here's our beautiful brisket. You can see it's starting to discolor a little bit, but after we slice it, we're going to wrap it up and it will maintain the temperature and the moistness and the color. So thinly slice our brisket here, our beautiful brisket. And if you don't like too much of the fat, you can always cut it off, but that's what I'm here for, that crispy fat layer. Beautiful thick cuts since we're at home, but usually the restaurant's much thinner, but why not? We're at home. Cut them thick, cut them thin, however you like. So prep that, and then now we have our green onions that I'm gonna cut the whites off and then diagonally thinly slice the green part. Prep. Here's our cilantro. Everything's washed and dried. It's easier to cut and manage. I'm gonna mix the green onions and cilantro here to kind of get a little medley, so you can just grab it as you go quickly. And then we're gonna put our whites on top. And there's our thinly sliced yellow onions. And boom, our garnish is prepped. All right, this is 5 hours in, and we're gonna finally take out our beef neck bones. Because I didn't want the meat to be super soft. So 5 hours is perfect for the neck bones, and that's it. No beef marrow bones in this recipe, so it's a much faster broth. I had no choice, so we do with what we have for this vlog. Out comes the beef neck bones. And then let's prep our seasoning. We got some salt, we got some rock sugar. This is 6 hours in. We're going to take out our onion, our ginger. We can throw that away, and then we can finally take out our daikon. Set aside. You can toss this, but I like to eat it. Now that our broth is clear of any bones and aromatics, we're going to toss in our seasoning. There's a chunk of brisket fat that I threw back in just because this broth is lacking that marrow from the bone marrow bones. Next up, we're going to prepare our dry aromatics. We have our star anise, cloves, fennel, coriander, and the superstar is sasum. This is like earthworm, dried earthworms. It kind of has this shrimpy umami taste to it that people use for pho, especially in Vietnam and places here. We're just gonna rinse it with some hot water to let everything rebloom since it's dried aromatics, and then we're gonna slow roast on the stove top for 4 to 5 minutes till everything starts smelling good again, starts drying out again, and we're gonna add it to our spice ball, a must-have when making pho. In goes our spice ball after the seasoning, and that thing stays in there for a maximum of 2 hours. So this is an hour and a half in. The last 30 minutes for our broth, I'm gonna hit it with a good amount of fish sauce, and we're gonna let that boil off for the last 30 minutes so the fishiness kind of can boil out of the broth, leaving a nice clean tasting umami blasted pho broth. We're going to transfer everything into a smaller pot, clean up, make sure the kitchen is nice and clean before service. Let's eat. I'm hungry. We got our noodles here that we're going to blanch. There's many methods to blanch the noodles, but I found this to be the easiest if you're just doing a bowl or 2 bowls at a time. Hot water directly into the bowl, drain it out. We got our green onion cilantro medley. We have our yellow onions and our beautifully cut brisket here. Make it pretty. We have a side order of daikon and beef ribs. We have the onion whites sitting in that broth for a little bit so it cooks down a bit before serving. Nice, hot, clear broth. And it's time to eat, everybody. The moment is here. Hit it with some black pepper. So, not as bold since we didn't have our beef marrow bones, but it did the job. It's super light. Look how clear that broth is. Nice hot summer day to get a nice sweat in. Nice moist and tender brisket. Delicious beef ribs. Texture on it still. Some sweet daikon on the side. Just a delicious PhoLog brisket edition. Thank you guys for watching. Summer's almost ending, so it won't be too hot making pho at home. We can make it during the fall when it's nice and cool, so you're not sweating as you eat this beautiful bowl of pho. What